What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HERR Lounge podcast. We have another guest today, and I'm really excited for this. And I know y'all are thinking, so Jalisa, we don't call mine red pill. Mine's still pink.
Okay.
So mine's a
You're
pink
not
pill.
all the way there
I'm
yet.
not all the way. It's there. I am red pilled, but mine is pink.
You might push her over the edge today.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, exactly. I told him, I said, we'll get into it. But before we get started, you guys know I like to start with a positive quote. And today's positive quote is, don't ever be afraid to shine. Remember, the sun doesn't give a fuck who it blinds. So, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
That's for your Monday right there.
That's a great way to start the week. So there you go with that. And once again, thank you guys to all my sponsors for my subscription box. Thank you so much for continuing to be a part of that. Twin Candles, Cactus Kush, BCN Supplements. You guys are awesome. So thank you for being a part of that. And to all my patrons, thank you for continuing to support the podcast, because if you guys were able to do this and we're able to continue to have guests on here. And so you guys make the podcast great. Today's guest. So let me tell you guys something. It's weird. I follow her on social media, and I had told Rob, my producer, and I said, man, I really want to ask this girl to be on my podcast, but I don't think she'll be on. I said, because, you know, she's like really about her shit, so I don't even know. And he goes, reach out to her. He's like, how bad can it be? I was like, man, I really hate hearing no. I said, but fine, you're right. Little did I know that she had reached out a long time ago, and I never saw the message.
Like 3 months ago.
And I was like,
awesome.
Is that not crazy? And I was like, what? She reached out to me. How the hell did I miss this? I get a shitload of DMs, and sometimes they're not always the best DMs, you know, because
The content
because of what I talk about, or, you know what I'm saying? Or because they know where I stand. And so I really don't know how I missed it, but anyway, I missed it. And so thank you for being on, Jalisa. I really appreciate it. She's really on top of it, guys. If you guys are not following her on social media. And here's what I honestly like about you is that it's pretty black and white. You're not really saying I am a Democrat or Republican. I'm fucking stating facts. I'm giving you facts, and here are the facts. And that's kind of how I am. It's like, no one has my vote. I'm about policies, and if I agree with that, then that's where I'm voting. You know what I'm saying? With things that are important to me. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you for saying yes and that you'd come on.
Of course.
Appreciate it. And you have your own podcast too.
I do. It's called The Side Effect.
Nice.
And I named it that partly because of all this medical stuff that's going on today. I chose the pill, but also being red pilled means like you see the truth, you know, the other side, and then the side effect for not knowing the truth or not knowing what the other side is saying, because a lot of stuff is censored. And I think that's why people have one-way thinking, because everything's blocked, especially on Google, that you can't see why. A lot of people don't know why I think the way that I do, because I actually dig for information and not just look at the first thing that they tell us. So there are consequences to not seeing both sides of an issue.
And her posts too will have things that she's researched herself. So it's not just like a post, like, here's your info.
It's not just the headline.
Eat it up. You know what I'm
What's
saying?
your Instagram, by the way?
My Instagram is at Jalisa _Danielle, JALISA_.
And you spell it J-A.
Yeah,
not
J-A. Yeah, everyone spells J-U with two S's.
Yeah.
No,
I did that last night. I literally did that and then sent the asterisk.
Not
like,
Jalisa.
oops.
Yes, JALISA.
And I'll put that in the show notes for you guys to click easily.
That way you guys can find it. And her podcast is great, guys. I hate that they're short episodes. I'm always like left, but I guess it's a good thing, because you're left hungry, right? I want more. So just so you guys know, you guys can also go check her out. Are you not on iTunes? Are you only on Spotify?
I'm on Spotify and Apple.
You are on Apple? I couldn't find you on Apple, but I found you on Spotify.
They're probably shadow banning me already.
Already.
I found that's where I listened to you on, is on Spotify. Okay. So anyway, thank you for being on, and congratulations for being on InfoWars.
Oh yeah, I can tell you all the story about how that happened. The producer, his name's Rob, he found my video on time. I was talking about time and if it was real, and
that was freaky.
How
that's
right, every day now I'm just like, I watched the movie Soul last night, and I'm still mind blown about that movie too. But I'll get
the cartoon movie.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen it yet.
It's like really deep. I'm still like, oh my gosh, why am I here? What is my purpose in life?
Yeah.
Like, what was I talking about?
The Infowars.
Oh, the Infowars. Yeah. So he saw my
future
video.
me saw your video.
Yeah, he did. He saw it and he was like, I saw the way that you think, and I think you would be really good for our show. And then he started to look through all my other stuff, and then saw like the politics type stuff, and then just being down the street. I didn't realize that they were in Austin, so I was down the street. So he was just like, I'll have you on. And at first I didn't think it was a real DM because I looked through his page and I was like, he don't have no content. There were no pictures. Like you said, like you get crazy DMs, and I'm just like, whatever. So I research people. I will find your family tree to make sure, like I will validate to see if that was a real person. So I was like, I told him, I was like, we need to do like a test run first. Like I need to FaceTime or something to see like this is for real. And then he's like, okay, I'll get on Skype. And he logged in and I was like, oh. And then I was really nervous because I don't do videos. This is making me nervous right now.
But you do all your content on videos, like your Instagram.
Yeah, like
reels.
I'm at home and like I'm in, like I can control it.
Oh my gosh.
In a controlled environment.
Yeah, I can control. Nobody's like around, like watching, like, people are sitting around, staring. There's just
no
me.
one's staring at us
Yeah.
yet.
No one's
That's what
watching
makes
at
it
all.
easy for me is that I know no one's technically looking at me just yet. Until
If there was a
it goes
live
on.
audience,
it'd be different.
No, I'd
Yeah.
be awkward. But I teach, so I stand in front of kids
True.
all the time or adults. But I don't know. It makes me feel weird.
That's interesting.
To go back to the Infowars thing, so did you go to Austin?
No. We just
okay.
did it live, but they do want me to go to Austin to like get in the studio. So hopefully I can make that happen.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Were you familiar with Alex and the whole Infowars
Oh
thing?
yeah, through 2020, I would like when I would see his videos, I'd be like, this guy's like the white man of me. Like that's me right there. That guy is me. We have our birthdays are like a day apart. We have like the same personality. Like in person, I think I'm a little bit more quiet, but online I'm like with the megaphone and yelling. But I am familiar with him, and I used to watch a lot of conspiracy type stuff. Like I don't know if you know who Jesse Ventura is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I used to watch like when he had a show, I would watch all that stuff. So I've been on this for like years.
Yeah. So I was just gonna ask, when did this all kind of come together for you? One, you're in the education system, so you're like a teacher. So is that where you first noticed it, or just in general, you kind of just started seeing things like the aha moments?
Like the truth?
Yeah.
The truth behind everything? I mean, I think it started around 9/11 because that like kind of scared me as, I was in 8th grade, but then somebody had brought up Nostradamus. And then from there I was like, who's that? And then I started getting into it, but it wasn't like, when I got social media, I didn't post anything about it. It was just like, I just knew, kind of like the whole COVID thing, like the vaccines, like I already knew it was coming. And I have text messages from like before the shutdown, everything, like January 2020, where I told my family, like, everything that's going to happen now is because they're going to try to vaccinate everyone, blah, blah, blah. And I saved it. And I was like, and they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. And look what happened. And now they're trying to get everybody. So I already knew it was coming.
You're from New York.
No, I'm
or
from
how
here.
are you? You're from here. Oh, okay. So you were just saying it happened 9/11 and you were just here and you realized.
Yeah, just like all this stuff that I would see over time. I was like, this is all like one big picture. Like I started to look at, they talked about Walmart having like underground tunnels and all of this stuff. And
this
just
is Rob right now is getting so hot right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do.
I need to turn the fan up right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him, I said, she's going to be right up your alley, Rob. I said, and she's going to have, because that's kind of how his thinking is as well. You
It
know what I'm
is. I
saying?
mean, they question everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like Chingo, even Chingo. Like Chingo, I think he's gotten to a point where he's questioning things even more than I am.
Yeah.
And you could probably attest to that.
Yeah.
Because what do they say? There's no coincidences, only.
Yeah, it's like, y'all put all of this together. Like it just makes sense.
Yeah.
When you start to pull everything together. But that's the problem. Like I tell this kids, like when y'all research stuff, you look at the first page, you don't click through. You just see that whatever it tells you right there in big bold letters, like copy and paste it, and that's it. They don't dig. So that's a lot of people's and they're gonna grow up to be adults, and those adults are gonna think just like that. First result, that's what they told me. That's the truth, and that's it. And so once you start, and I had a lot of time during COVID when everyone was at home to read and to look into more things. And yeah, I just read all day. So anytime somebody sends me something, I already seen it. I already seen it. Like nothing is surprising me anymore.
What grades do you teach?
10, 11, and 12.
Oh, geez.
Oh
you were in
my
the belly of the
gosh.
beast.
Yeah. No, I actually I don't like
You
middle school.
really? You liked? See, I did that whole program, Future Teachers of America, and you know how they give you an opportunity to teach every grade or whatever. Ooh, middle school, I was like, y'all
No,
need it.
I can't do middle school.
They're in that phase where one, they think they know it all, and two, they haven't really figured out who they are.
Yeah.
Just, I was
They have like attitudes, like at least
for
high
no
school-
reason.
They have high schoolers have attitudes, but they're just like whatever.
I'm still in both those phases. I don't know what I want to be, and I don't know who I am.
I couldn't do the middle school. I was like, yep, this is not for me. I would never do middle school.
No,
Just-
I wouldn't go back. I did kindergarten and 5th grade, and then I did a year of middle school, and that taught me like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
High school's easy. You just leave them there. You know, they can take
See,
care
I
of
liked
themselves.
elementary school. It was my favorite. And I also liked working with the special ed.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
yeah,
was
I'm a
my-
special ed teacher.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that was
Oh,
my
cool.
that
Yeah.
was my soft spot. So that for me was my favorite. I would do extra projects just to be able to continue to keep my 6
Yeah.
weeks in that whole classroom. So anyway, right now for you, with you as vocal as you are you having any issues at school? Like because you're so
Of course
open?
I am.
Yeah.
Of course I am.
Please expand on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I had someone on last week who is a big advocate for like protesting against everything that's going on. Show her my sign over there, Rob.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So she is
She brought that for us.
she brought that for us. So she goes to every HISD school board meeting
Is
every
it the
first Thursday.
HTX?
Yes.
Yeah. I've
So-
had conversations with them.
Yeah,
Or
so-
whoever runs that account.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her.
So that was her. And so Jackie came in and we talked. And a lot of these things, you know, for me, my daughter's going to start school this year, and I don't know that she's going to go to school. I think I'm going to really homeschool her. And it makes me sad at the same time because how old are you?
34.
34. Okay. So we're all kind of, well, I'm way older than all of y'all, but my thing is growing up, elementary school was fun for me. You know, I loved popcorn day or, you know,
Yeah.
recess
They don't
and
have that
fun
no more.
Friday.
They
You know what I'm
got
saying?
Trans Day. They got LGBTQ
See?
Day. They
So,
got-
you know, when I see it on social media, it's like, this can't be happening. And so like you, I go digging around and it's like, this is insane. How, listen,
There's so many things Marisol
Yeah.
wants to get out.
I know here's the thing. I'm open to it. And I feel like you should be whoever you want to be, but I don't feel school is the place for it.
No,
At all. I don't agree with bullying. So let's just say you are a gay little boy. I do think the school needs to control, like making sure he's not harassed or bullied or beat up. I do think that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It should be taken care of. But you having a trans show as an assembly thing?
Drag queens, reading story time to little kids, and no.
She told me about all the books right now that are kind of
they're
out
all
there.
sexually explicit. I mean, there's no filter anymore. It's like they're disguising it as they're trying to demonize people to say you're homophobic or you're whatever. It's like, no, I don't like, even when I play videos, like I had played a movie when I taught journalism. Well, I teach journalism, but it was a journalism movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's called Nightcrawler. And I think there was a scene in there that was about to get, I was like, like we're not watching that. I don't care. It's straight, gay. Like we shouldn't be putting that in schools. And they're just like, what's wrong with it? They're going to learn it anyways. It's like, no, you don't teach them that.
Yeah, exactly.
parent needs
Parents
to
do.
Yeah.
And I hate when people will say, well, I saw this teacher say parents don't need to get involved in the school.
Oh, yeah.
Stay out of the schools. That's for teach. I was like,
And we're having a hard time contacting parents to tell them about their kids. So, hey, come straighten this discipline up. And you're telling them to stay away. It's like, no, we need them. Because if we don't have them, we can't control all of 2,000 kids or however many. I think we have like 2,600 kids. We need parents. So I don't know why they think they can handle everything on their own.
before we get into the whole education thing, that's why I told her, I said, how much time do you have?
Yeah, how much
'Cause I
time
think
do you
finna-
have?
She said she's down to stay. So I told her if she could do.
Okay.
Oh, you asked me
episode
if I got
one.
in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. You asked me.
You-
Is
yeah,
that what you're talking
mhm.
about? So, in trouble as far as COVID, I'm always in trouble. I've got write-ups all the time, like all the time. So,
In
well,
general, like, so, because didn't they go the whole vaccinating thing? Did y'all, or your
well,
school?
we didn't, but my school, they would constantly send out emails that were like, "Hey, come get your vaccine down in the gym. Come, you know, it was just like nonstop. Like, oh, if you want to get COVID tested, come down here. And it's like, oh my gosh. And so to me, I'm like, enough already. Like, you reminding people every single day, keeping them in fear. Like, we got to stop. So I would never wear a mask. I was like, I'm not wearing one. I don't care. Whatever y'all got to do, go through all the steps. But they're not gonna do that, because I know, like, because the governor, you know, was like, you can't do that. So they know I will fight, and they know I'll take it all the way up there. They know I'll grab the first news station. They know I'll grab the first radio station. So I think that maybe there is trepidation there, but then again, it was like they just knew I wasn't gonna back down. So just constant write-ups all the time, and then pulling up my tweets and then printing them out and showing me. Why are you writing this stuff? No, like, you need to make your page private. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
You need to make your page private. They try to tell you that?
Yeah. I was like, first of all, no. Second of all, everybody needs to see what's going on, because I would tell, like, the kids were very uncomfortable. They're getting yelled at all the time because they, you know, would have the mask right here. I said, why do you think they keep pulling it down? Because they can't breathe. Then you're wondering why they're not functioning correctly, because you're not getting oxygen to the brain. Got kids writing that I get nosebleeds. I mean, I had them write out, do you agree with it or not, and why? That's it. Because I don't tell them this is how you should think. But if you have an opinion, you need to be able to prove it with more than just your emotions. Like, what are the facts statistically? Because just saying, oh, that's the rules, that's not good enough for me, because everyone has a different way of, like, adapting to things. And you can't push the message of, oh, kids learn different and make us do different lesson plans but then turn around and say everyone has to react the same to mask and COVID, and just shut up and be quiet about it. Like, so that's why I was, like, fighting a lot with it. And I wanted to prove to them, you're not going to die. So it's okay to breathe. So that's why I would make sure they never saw me with one on. And if they did, it was like hanging on my ear. And then I was like, this is stupid. And they, like, no, like, I would say that in front of them, like, y'all, this is stupid. Like, I don't even know why we're doing these rules. And some of them, you know, they still to this day, still got it on. I don't even know what they look like.
Wow.
And we don't have the
mandate?
Yeah, we don't have that anymore. So
It comes from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I know, when I see little bitty ones and the parents are still, and we go to the playground, and I'll see.
Yeah, they be
I'm
outside.
just like,
Oh, yeah.
You're at the playground,
Yeah.
Mom, Dad, like, it's open air.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. And second of all, nothing's gonna happen to them.
Yeah.
They're like, not unless your child has other medical serious issues. Maybe then they shouldn't even be at the playground. Then if that's the case, if they have serious medical issues, you should maybe be a little bit more cautious if that's the case. But yeah, for me, it was the kids. The virtual signaling for the kids was a big problem for me.
It was so bad. Oh my gosh.
That's where I kind of felt like, I just really felt like, listen, you can't even be friends with children. You don't even, like you said, you don't know what your friend looks like, for one. And then also, I would see videos of moms showing, I'm in part of this mom group on Facebook of moms who are against the whole mask thing, and videos of, like, the mom literally showing all the rashes that they were getting from it. And it's one thing to see it on social media when someone else posts and it's being reposted and reposted. When you're part of a group, though, and it's more personal because you're talking, you kind of, you don't know them, but, you know, you respond and you talk about things, and you're seeing this mom personally showing you, and it's like she's at the school complaining. She's to where she had to quit her job to be able to homeschool her child because it just got that bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I think, where a lot of parents got to some point. It was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but my child can't continue to go through this, you know? For high schoolers, being that they're kind of already kind of molded in their way, was it a little bit different for you? Like, to kind of like, or do you not even talk about this stuff with them?
Oh, I always talk about it. I talk about everything. I'm like, which conspiracy y'all want to talk about today? Like, because I teach world history, it's really hard for me now. Like, I'm teaching them lies. I'm teaching them lies because we weren't even alive back then. So how can anyone even prove this? And I was like, we're going to play a game of telephone. I'm going to start it off. And by the time it gets to the end, it's going to be a completely different message, because the more you tell a story over and over again, somebody's going to change a little bit. And now that it's reaching us 500 years later or whatever, like, that probably never even happened. So it's really hard for me now. I'm just like, I don't want to teach this. Let's talk about something else, y'all.
How long have you been a teacher?
10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've seen a huge.
So from early 20s to your early 30s, where did you start seeing things start to like, the way I reference it is, I refer to it as like the matrix is glitching. Like when did you really start seeing it glitch?
I would say definitely beginning of COVID, but maybe like right when I started high school, I just saw like, maybe it's just the demographic, but the laziness of like seeing how, you know, all they're doing is just Googling and it's not real learning. I don't like, I'm such a homeschool advocate now. Like I don't want to be in education anymore because it just hinders, it makes everyone
You're about to quit, right? Like you're resignating, right?
I already put in my resignation and they're like, oh, you sure you want? I'm like, yes, I'm 100% sure, because it makes everyone think the same. You all have to get the same answer. You all have to respond the exact same way in order to get it right. And there's no creativity because it has to follow a rubric. It has to follow this. It has to follow that. And the kids are just like robots. Everybody's just robots. You have to repeat the same message over and over again. I just can't stand it anymore. Like, I'm just like, where am I? What am I doing? And I would get in trouble all the time for showing them something else or taking them outside or, I mean, it was too much that I was like, you know what, y'all, you know, the kids are like, I have no other choice. I have to be here. And I'm like, no, you don't. But I do notice that a lot of kids, now that me today, the lazy kids, I don't think that they're like that. I think that they've woke up way early to know that the system is not good for them because it keeps you in this little box. And it's just like a factory of producing workers. Like that's all it is constantly every year. And so I'm only one person. There's only like 2 of us maybe that will really like speak up and out like at my school, but everyone else is just falls in line. They just do things so they don't get in trouble.
But I find that more teachers are woke than really ever.
What kind of the wokes are the
or
aware, the ones that are aware of what's going on?
No, I mean like the ones that are woke, like those teachers that are sitting there,
like the libs of TikTok.
Yeah, like
yeah,
like those. I don't know where those teachers are located, but if my child had that person as a teacher, and I say this, if you go back to any episode that you listen to, my thing is always, it's up to the parent at the end of the day. I don't understand why it's solely the responsibility of the teacher. Who made that the job of the teacher?
Oh my gosh,
like I didn't know.
It's so tiring trying to be like, do everything. That's why I get frustrated because I'm like, this is not my kid. I don't have kids. This is not my kid. Yeah. Like, why am I disciplining them? Like, why can't I reach the actual parent? Why are they not calling back? Why are they not doing something, intervening to where it does make you want to just give up on them? You're just like, you know what? It's lost cause. No one's disciplining them. No one's telling them anything. So what am I doing?
Do you see any common trends among parents that you finally do get a hold of, or the ones that you can't get a hold of?
We've had some that'd be like, don't call me. Don't call me. Yeah, there's like, don't call me about that, because I think they're probably tired of getting called about their child. Maybe, I don't know. But some has said, don't call me. Some I've had like make excuses, you know, for a chronically absent student. And they're just like, oh, well, I'll talk to them. It's like, talk to them. I'll see where their head is. Like, no, just pull them out. Just withdraw them, because coming every other 3 weeks or whatever, like, that's stress on us. And then we get in trouble for some reason because they're failing or whatever. And then it's like, why you got all these failing kids? And that was like what happened my first year, you know, doing what I do now, because there were so many failing, but it was because they were never there. And so that I can go home and get them. Like, I can only do so much within a few hours of the day, but we're expected to like perform miracles. I don't know. I can't do this anymore. We are not meant to work that hard in this life. Okay.
Well, I just don't think that teachers are meant, like, I say this constantly, because again, teachers to me growing up were pretty damn awesome. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was something that you wanted to be. Like,
that's why I became a teacher. Yeah. Because of one of my teachers.
Exactly. And so I had some really great teachers growing up, and that's what I was telling Jackie when she was here. I was like, I can tell you which teacher was my favorite teacher for having the best books that we would read throughout the year. I can tell you which teacher like really took the time to, if you didn't understand, like I can vividly tell you names. I am 40 years old. The fact that you can still remember names of teachers that you were in elementary school or whatever says a lot, right? I don't think that's the case now. My stepdaughter doesn't like any of her teachers. Like she can't stand them. She's like, I don't know why the Spanish teacher teaches Spanish if she can barely speak Spanish herself.
Oh yeah, a lot of kids don't know the names of their own teachers. Like I'll ask them like, hey, who's your, I don't know. I'm like, how am I expected to memorize 200 something names and you can't get 5 to 6 teachers? Like they just don't care for the connection. Some of them, I mean, there's a few, but
was this, like, but would you say that this was happening even before COVID already? Or do you think that it's worsened? Because I read something that said that we're pretty much going to have the most illiterate group of children graduate.
Oh yeah.
Like
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. And I let them know that all the time. Like,
that's what's up.
You know, they know that I'm truthful with them. I'm not like going to just sit there and just degrade them, but I'm gonna tell them the truth. I'm gonna be like, okay, you over here having an attitude, but you can't even put 2 sentences together, you know? So I'll let them know, like, don't be out here acting like you big and bad and you can't even read. So
they're like, when Flo Mayweather did it. Yeah.
Oh, we talk about it. I pull up his speech all the time. I play it. I'm like, they're like, we got money. I was like, yeah, but also people can take it. He could have more. Probably people's taking advantage of him because he can't read his own contracts.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know. They just don't have a care. It's just all like the screen, the music. It's like, if you're going to be into that, do something with that. Like pick up a trade, like you have no skills.
So
there's 0 skills.
Who was I talking to? Someone told me that they don't even pay attention to the teachers anymore because now they have, I guess, like, they issue them iPads.
Oh yeah, every kid has a Chromebook. Yeah.
Okay, so now they don't even worry about asking the teacher a question. They'll just say, just Google it. And so it's like the teacher's just there pretty much. I don't know how true this is because I'm not a teacher, obviously. So maybe you can. The teacher's just basically there babysitting these kids, giving them assignments, and they're just on the laptop or whatever.
I mean, so we do have teachers like that. I personally I like teaching, not the content, but like stuff. Like I'll be like, hey, did y'all see that video on whatever? And I'll just pull up random things. But I do tell them when somebody's talking to you, you don't, just tune in. I said, because when you ask me a question, you think I'm just gonna be like, put my headphones on and not listen to you? Like no one, like that's not how the real world works. So you need to put it down or make them put it under their desk. So it sometimes is used as like babysitting tool because they'll just get on YouTube and they'll sit there quiet, they'll put their headphones on, and people like silence. So, but wow. I do not like that. I don't like it at all.
I grew up in the wrong era.
Yeah.
I belong in this era. I want to be a kid right now.
No, I just really feel like, I don't feel like my daughter's going to go to school, and I really am sad for her, like I said, because of the fact that I experienced a lot of fun things, like making cool cups, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, playing, on the playground.
Remember field day?
Like field day. Yes.
Field day. That was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll never know what that is. And a friend of ours ended up pulling out his daughter during COVID, and they just decided to just keep the homeschooling going. They were just like, this is working out better for us anyway. And they both work from home, so it works out for them, and they just kind of take turns. And so I reached out to them. I said, hey, listen, I really am considering homeschooling Penny. And they said, it's the best thing, but she's going into, I think the 3rd grade or 4th grade or whatever. He's a comedian. So he said, yeah, they get into fractions. So she has to go to school now. She goes, because I'm not the fractions person.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, I would definitely homeschool. I do watch a lot of like videos of homeschool kids and how like it's just learning skills. Like it's not, you don't need to know trigonometry like
ever,
unless you, and I tell like the kids, why do we have to learn this stuff? I said, well, some people pick up their interest when they're in school. So that math class could inspire them to be something that has to do with math. So you just never know. You can't cater every single thing. We can't like 500 classes, for whatever you want to. So it's like a general, you know, a lot of jobs falls under math or science or whatever. So you have to kind of go through that, but it's not like forever. It's a couple months out of your whole life. A couple of days really, because half the time you're not really in that class. But you know, I think homeschool is great. They learn more skills because sometimes there are kids.
That's true.
Yeah, there are kids that don't get the attention because if you have higher functioning students with lower functioning students, you're going to pay more attention to the lower functioning ones because they need the more help. So the higher ones a lot of times either get bored or they have to do the work, you know, because they're not going to cater through all, you know, brain levels or whatever you want to call it, intelligent levels. So they're not being challenged. So that's another issue I have with schools, that there are some schools that are taking away the honors programs.
Oh, so that is true.
Yeah,
I saw that.
So the GT, right? They're getting rid of the GT.
They just want everyone to be equal. It's like, you know, you don't want to hurt people's feelings. They're like, no, that's not how life is.
Not for our kids. The twins are both in GT. Look, small town, again, I go back to it. Small town schools, if you can put them in there and find
Not even, because Jackie just talked about it, and she said they're even going over, they're attacking the small towns.
Sure. The ones that let them. But the ones that don't, they're not going to let them.
We're talking about McKinney, Texas here.
Yeah.
I mean, McKinney, Texas, bro? Really? Y'all are going over there and doing transgender stuff over there?
That's crazy.
I mean, McKinney, Texas is the small little town by Dallas. And so, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It takes, that's another thing, like you said, is people are going to be illiterate because you're spending too much time doing parades and protest. Like they had like 5-year-olds doing BLM marches and stuff in the schools. I'm like, teach them letters and numbers. Like, what are y'all doing? Spending an hour making posters and.
So, in your opinion, how else? I mean, what else other than homeschool could somebody do to remedy this? Like private school.
But they're so expensive. I mean, I've tried. That's going to be option 2. So if we're going to go do a little tour at a private school, and depending on how I feel about that, I mean, we attend that church and that they have a school. So depending on how I feel about it, she'll go there, and then, or if not, it's homeschool. So those are my 2 options right now. But I mean, private school is super duper expensive. It's like I have another mortgage, and it's like, I mean, damn, like I pay taxes for public school. So why did I start to send my child to, that's my argument, my biggest argument. And I know a lot of that has to do with the budgeting, the teachers unions. I know a lot of that stuff has to do with that, but it drives me bananas that, for one, it's like, unless you have a master's degree, you can't ever make more than a certain amount as a teacher. Unless you become a principal, you can never make more than an amount. And it's like, wait, these teachers are continuing to have to go get into debt. If you go work for corporate America, it's your skills that get you to move up, right? So for me, I feel like if a teacher, if you see that a teacher is performing well, she's doing well, I mean, her peers pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's no reason why a teacher shouldn't be able to continue to move up without having to continue to go get into more debt to get more degrees.
I would never go back
you know
to
what
school.
I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you know,
never.
I mean, I don't get the way this system works for teachers. And it's like amazing that there's still people wanting to be teachers, because it's like, at some point, when are teachers going to fight back? Like, where's the teachers union for those who want to fight back?
Yeah, so the only ones that were fighting back were the ones who wanted to stay out of school because of COVID. And they were out for like a year or 2, like in Chicago. They fought for the longest time, like, it's not safe, while they're in crowds.
At Lollapalooza.
Had Lollapalooza. It's not safe, but then they're all like this on strike. It's like, well, you're not like that in the classroom, but look at you right now. All
but
up
listen,
on somebody's back.
BLM protests were safe during COVID, but any Trump rally was not safe.
Oh yeah,
super spreader event.
Non-super. I'm just like, really? Who made this decision,
and
guys?
People really like
same crowds. Come on
Facebook were like, see, I told you. I was like. No. Oh my God.
What's your opinion on social media at this point? At 34 years old, you mentioned Facebook, just the whole thing.
Facebook is low vibrations. Facebook is for high school dropouts. Facebook is for like, oh my gosh, I can go on about. I put something on Facebook that I got chewed up, spit out, stomped on, because I said high school graduation was not that big of an accomplishment. Because it's not.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like because I am in high school and I've seen how they push the kids along, I was like, the kid wasn't even here for 30 days. And all of a sudden that kid who was there every single day, they got the same degree, the same, like, so it's a joke to me. So then I had people from my high school. Well, some people, and I'm like, I'm not talking about special cases. I'm talking about in general. Overall, the entire system is easy. The work, like if y'all come and see the work that the kids get, ABCD, circle, multiple choice. I mean, it's a joke. And I got all kinds of, I can't believe you as a teacher. I said, well, I volunteer every single graduation. I am the first one to volunteer all the time, just so I can go and tell the kids, do not make this the pinnacle of your life.
Yeah.
Because some people that they stay there, they live in high school. Like when I was in high school, I was a football star, and, you know, and they don't move on from it. That was like the highlight of their life. So I make sure I go there to tell them it better not stop here. Yeah. Because a lot of them I do see standing at the gas station. Mm-hmm. The area that I'm in, like it's like, what are you doing with your lives? Mm-hmm. They're just stuck. Mm-hmm. So
I'm guilty of talking about really good dodgeball games from high school.
Oh my God. Dodgeball in high school? Dude. Okay. That was elementary, Rob.
No. Dang. We played with the girls' leather volleyballs too.
Oh my God.
It was serious.
Yeah, no. So I Facebook, I'm heavily shadow banned on Facebook now. Like they've sent me messages. I was like, if you put one more thing, we're going to start removing your posts or hiding your posts or whatever.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. So I don't have any, but Twitter, I think my Twitter does the best because I find like a lot of like-minded people there, and it's very short, a few characters. Instagram, that's okay. It's I like Twitter the best. I think it's the easiest way to find information. Type a few keywords in, and that's it.
He goes to Twitter my husband goes to Twitter. I only go on there to harass Lena Hidalgo. That's the reason.
I can't stand her.
That's the only reason I have Twitter. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just like to go on there, and I like to give all her whatever supporters a hard time. And
they had all the posters like in the grass around during whenever I was like, oh, rip them down. I can't with her. She made school miserable. And I don't want to say where I work, but they have aligned with her. So any rules that we were like the last people to get rid of the mask thing. It was just constant, whatever they say, mask, and I mean, they barely stopped having to wear them last month.
What?
It was 2 years of insanity. That's why our kids that's what makes me upset, because we're a predominantly Black and Hispanic school, that you're targeting those kids. And I told the kid, I said, look at the schools that are free, that have choice. Who doesn't have choice? Mm-hmm. You guys, the brown ones. Y'all don't have choice. You go 10 minutes up the road, you go to Humble, you go to freedom. And now look, you guys are like robots. You're being told what to do. And that's why our communities are always stuck where they're at. It's it's crazy. Like when I look and I'm like, man, some of you're just going to grow up to blame the man.
No, but you know what? But I feel that it's because it started from elementary and now they're in high school. So now it's like,
yes,
what?
And a lot of them stay
different. And I mean, this has been taught to me this whole journey until I got here.
Is that where your activists come from, you think? Like you're very, very Lena Hidalgo activist type supporters? From a system of growing up, like Marisol said, from kindergarten all the way to high school. You're taught this oppression mentality.
You are. You're just taught these are the rules and that's it. And we didn't have parents speak out and have like they did with one of my friends. She works at West U, and it's very rich area. Yeah, and they were on the news because parents were protesting. They got a parent who had like a whole truck with a big sign that said unmask our kids or whatever. They're driving it up and down the street. Like, we don't have parents like that. You can barely get a hold of them. So they're not going to fight against masks and all that. And
again, it goes back to the parent. And that's what I get it. Like, I get it that there's sometimes, I'm going to speak from experience. My parents are immigrants. My parents worked all the time. I was staying home by myself in second grade. I don't know why I was staying home alone. Okay. Second grade.
Latchkey kid.
Yeah. So I'd come home, I'd stay there. And I say this all the time. I knew that by the time the second episode of Punky Brewster finished, my mom was coming home. Yeah. So usually that was about 4:30. And so I knew that was the time that I had to have all my homework done. Right. If I wanted to play outside. But even though my parents both worked so much, they didn't play. Yeah. It was, I need to, what does your report card say? If I got an N for talking too much in class, it was like, what is this about? I still get spanked. Like, it didn't matter. I was in the 10th grade and I got a C. And I vividly remember being scared that my mom was going to go get the report card from the mailbox. Yeah. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do? She's going to whoop me. The fact that you're in the 10th grade and you still think your mom's going to whoop you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so regardless that my parents worked so much and, you know what I'm saying, they still made sure like homework was done. If there was any kind of disciplinary action sent home in your folder, it was like, what's this about? And I mean, we're talking about my parents learning English very little. And so I could have lied and been like, no, that's not what that says. You're wrong.
No,
you know
they do that. They do that.
I know that.
Now that we got computers, they're manipulating the... Yeah, we couldn't do that.
Yeah, we could. Exactly. So for me, I could have easily, but I was my parents' translator for a little bit until they learned English. So I could have easily have made up some kind of crap, you know what I'm saying? But I never did. It was like, I respected them. I was afraid of them also. And I knew that they weren't going to be playing if I got any bad grades. So I can't really even say, well, those parents that work so much, you know, I understand because my parents did. I was home a lot. I mean, that's why I never wanted to have kids. That's why I waited so long, because I was responsible for my sister too, because they worked. Yeah. So it was like, did you make sure your sister's homework was? I'm like, what? We're like, she's in freaking like, I'm in 3rd grade now and she's like in 1st. And I'm like having to make sure, did you finish your homework? Yeah. Okay. Until she's done with homework, you can go outside. Yeah. Why was that my job? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was like that. So for me, I can't even say that, but like single mothers, it's got to be hard. But when you come home at night, you're not just a little bit curious, just a little bit. Yeah. Like, I get it. You're tired. You've worked a lot. You've got a lot of stress. But at the end of the day, it's still your child. So there's got to be some kind of concern. Like, you don't want your child to kind of repeat whatever is going on in your life. So why wouldn't you want to sit there? That's what I don't understand. How parents cannot just be involved. Yeah. It's like the school system is going to shit because no parent wants to get involved.
It's a holding cell. And I've told the kids, I said, you know, some of you do have people at home to push you and some of you don't. But regardless, that's not an excuse. Because I didn't, my mom went to, you know, they went to high school, but she didn't, I mean, I was like academically advanced, so she didn't really ask me about anything. It was only if I had something bad, but it was like excessive talking or something. But she didn't really ask me anything. I was like, and I've asked her as an adult, like, did you even go to my school? Do you know where I went to school? Like, you just dropped me off. But with my sister, who hopefully she's gonna watch this, she, you know, got in trouble a lot and whatever. They were always at the school or always talking to a teacher. So a lot of times the parent doesn't get involved until it's something negative or until it's something bad. But then again, like you said, like some kids don't even tell their parents anything. Kids have showed me how they can make it look like online, because all their stuff is online now. You can go look up the grades, that you can change the grades, not like really change them, but change it for that screen.
Yeah, it just almost felt like photoshopping.
Yeah, it's like Photoshop, but they actually like just right click it and he's like, look, miss, and I can do this and this. And I was like, and then you just show the parent that. But if the parent logs in, then it'll look different. But they'll just pull up that screen only. And I'm like, yo, just do better. And I told him, why do you want to be a sorry kid? Why do you want to be a sorry son or daughter? Like, or a sorry, loser. Like, yeah, just sorry. Just like, and then, you know, you're a reflection of your parents. Or if you don't have parents, like, just as a human being, why do you want to be a sorry individual? Like, look at you. And it's just like, you know, just like, I know they're like 15, but some of them are not. I have a 20-year-old.
20-year-old what?
Student.
Who's
been there like 5 years. Yes.
I thought after a while they have to get out.
At 21.
Oh my
what?
God.
I thought that was only for special ed kids.
No. For special ed, 25.
Wow.
Yeah, they can be
You have a 20-year-old senior?
Yeah, we do. We have a couple of them.
Ah.
So a lot of times though, and the kids who...
I'm in shock right now. I can't even believe that. 20, bro? Like, that's 2 years in college already.
Yeah. When I started, I was 21.
That's supposed to be me, but I got it together.
Yeah, like no, it's just like, y'all, what are you doing? And a lot of kids who do repeat, who have to have me again, I will tell them in front of everybody. Like, remember this from last year? You remember this? Or I think I still have your notebook. Because they, I think they need to bring back like public shaming. It's too like coddled. Everything is too like, don't hurt their feelings. Don't make sure they don't, it's like, no, because that harsh truth is what gets people like.
Let me ask you this.
Moving.
You can say something?
I was just going to say, I'm going to, so this was in high school already. So this was about year 2000, 1990, around there. It was during that time that it hadn't been pushed yet, but this is when you couldn't say sit Indian style. It was just the crisscross applesauce had just started. And I remember being in a kindergarten class, and I said, all right, it's reading time. Everybody sit Indian style. And after the class, the teacher came up to me and said, hey, I don't know if they've talked to you yet, but it's not Indian style. You can't say that. I'm like, well, what do you say? She goes, we say crisscross applesauce. So it's like crisscross, some crap. And I was like, what?
Lame.
What? That was my first, exactly. That was my first, like, what? This is really weird.
Yeah.
I didn't pursue education, so it was kind of like, okay, I guess.
Dodge the bullet.
Yeah, I was like, I guess that was it. But when I was doing my internship for interpreting, I'm a sign language interpreter. So when I was doing my internship, I wanted to go into the school system. So I did some of my internship in the deaf department, and I was like, no, bro, I'm not your interpreter. I'm not your fucking assistant here.
Yeah.
And it made me really sad to see how the deaf department was not, it was just whatever. They really didn't know how to read.
Yeah.
And the teachers were just like, it's okay. And I was like, okay, I am an interpreter. I am no longer here to do anything. I just could not believe. And I was sitting there interpreting, but I was technically helping him. Like, I would be like, that's not correct. I'm sorry. If the interpreter who was grading me would have seen what I was doing, it would have been like, bitch, you're not getting the certification anymore. So like, you're out of here. Like, they would have called the school and said like, she can't finish. Yeah. And I was in shock at how so many, this was high school, by the way, so many of the high school students had such a low reading level. And I get it, because ASL is not English language. So everything is backwards. So I totally get it. But then you should have someone who has the time. So anyway, my point is, it started in elementary school. If you're now reached high school and you still can't read, the problem began a long time ago. Yeah. So that's when I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be.
Yeah, that's why I said, how do you, because I taught kindergarten and I was like, what did you do for 5 years with that kid? Why didn't you teach them numbers, colors, something? Like, you don't have to sit and have a whole lesson, but when you're out, hey, what color is that? Quiz them from time to time, like just randomly. And so, I've had people like, when I do make my rants online about teaching, I've had people like, well, you're a teacher, you should not. No, I don't have time to teach a 18-year-old how to read in 100 days. Like, they have other things going on. We have to do I'm not an English teacher. I'm history, or I'm journalism, or whatever. Like, they have to know these skills, and how you've allowed, and how themselves have allowed themselves to go this long without learning it. It's like, you're not embarrassed. You don't feel any kind of way like, man, I can't even get through a book. Can't even get through a sentence. I said, this is how y'all get taken advantage of. Like that's, and I think it's designed like that from the beginning, targeting them, because when slavery was around,
I really think so too.
Yeah.
So the way you said that, like, things are so coddled right now, I totally agree. But it's weird because the way we grew up, people were hard asses. Like, we had thick skin. It's weird that we have grown into the place where we're the people in positions of power with these kids, and yet it's gone the other way.
It's sensitive. And I tell them, like, as a Hispanic, Black culture, like, we're used to being roasted.
Yeah.
We're used to being talked to about, we have all kinds of nicknames, all kinds of stuff. So they're okay. That's why I like working where I work, because it's not as like, I'm not like as worried about saying something, because a lot of them still have that mentality, like more conservative, I guess you want to call it, because when we talk about stuff, they don't realize that their values are more conservative. Like when I talk about guns, we talk about family units, all that kind of stuff. They align with that side, but somewhere in the, I don't know where it happens to where it just, they grow up and go the other way.
Okay, so we've talked about this before, because I really feel if so growing up, my parents were very conservative, right? But I think two reasons. I've always said this. My mom says it's not, but one, we grew up super religious, so I was Pentecostal growing up. My dad was a co-pastor. My mom was the secretary of the church. And two, my parents are products of amnesty during Reagan, and so he was Republican. So I feel like that's the reason why. And so I was the Democrat in the house. So my parents and I could never speak about politics. We'd fight and we'd argue, and I'd be like, how are you an immigrant? And you feel this way? And my mom would always be like, okay. But as we sat here, whenever we first started the podcast, right, the red pills, tamales, we were talking, and it was funny because my husband said, you were a conservative like a long time ago. You didn't even realize that you had all these traits, right? Yeah. Because for me, church is a big deal, right? For me, family is a big deal. So there was a lot of things, and Rob would tease. It's like, you're super I'm like, I'm not, Rob. I'm not. Stop saying that. Like, I'm not. I'm like very open. I'm like just talking, right? But it was, for me, it was like, as soon as like the pandemic started happening. Yeah, the pandemic. For me, it was like really weird. So at my church, they were already showing videos of stuff that would happen, like stuff like this. And I thought, they're silly. How's anybody ever going to become this religion if you're showing this kind of crap, right? So that was my thing. And that was my aha moment. I was sitting there. My sister now had just moved to Boston. And so literally we called each other at the same time, like a coincidence. Yeah. And she's like, what? I said, what? She called us, what are you doing? She goes, nothing. I said, what is what happening remind you of? She goes, no way. I'm like, what does it remind you of? She's like, church. I was like, I know. Can you believe we're living this? I never thought this was real. Yeah. Like, I never thought this could really happen. Yeah. I thought my church was crazy. And that's why nobody would ever go to our church, because they're crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this has been a huge eye opener for me. My point to this is the whole conservative thing. They don't talk about it on the Spanish news.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was like a channel.
There's not.
I think there's just one, I think, right?
Yep, that's
Channel
it.
45.
That's it. Univision, that's it.
I asked my nanny every morning, so what did they show on the news today on Spanish news? Oh, no, they just talked about XYZ and all the money that they're going to give. They're going to start giving out. And I was like, oh, really? So you don't know nothing about. So I told her about the whole transgender thing. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, we're talking about a very old school Mexican lady. Okay. So to her, this is nonsense. I'm like, no, let me show you the book. This is the book that they have in schools. And she was like, what? She's like, this is real. So she gets red pilled here at my house, and then she goes home, and she's like,
I was like, I wonder, like, how does that work?
At first she doesn't kind of get it. She still doesn't get transgender. She still calls them drag queens. She thinks they're drag queens. She doesn't understand that there's a man.
Surgery.
Yeah, she's like, what? So you mean they're transvestites? No, they're not. Yeah. It's a whole different thing. And so for her, it's like, she's like, Americans are so weird. Why do y'all do this? I'm like, no, it's happening in your schools that your granddaughters go to. You just don't know because you guys think this is okay. Like, it's not okay. Do you understand? Like, I try to tell them all the time. And I try to tell her not to put her grandkids in ESL. Yeah. And I was like, don't put them in there. I know what I'm telling you. Luckily, my mom, when she first got here, she cleaned houses she cleaned a teacher's house. And the teacher said, do you have kids? The teacher was the one who told her, whatever you do, don't put her in ESL. I didn't speak English when I started school. So she was like, what? Well, what is she going to do? She's like, she'll get it. I know what I'm telling you. Don't let her get in. Don't let her be in ESL. So I was never in ESL. So when they started school, because that's how long she's been working with us, I told her, I said, hey, don't put them. Till this day, check this out. My daughter did not speak English. Okay. I only taught her Spanish. But she watches YouTube. You can ask Rob right now. That's all she wants to speak now is English, right? But I never taught her a word of English. She learned that on her own. She's 3 years old. It's just from watching videos, and now she speaks it. Her grandkids are in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and none of them still can speak English.
Yeah,
like
self-contained. They keep them all in
exactly.
one room. We have our classes. We have like 3. They call them AEA rooms, and they just came from somewhere. I don't know where they came from, but they are. It's a culture shock too. It's although like they're Mexican or they're Honduran or whatever, they're loud. They're different, and they don't get to be with the general. So to know that like how they are, in certain settings, it's like, I guess not okay how they behave and stuff. So they don't get to learn all of those, the culture here, or the American culture, whatever you want to call it. So it does keep them in a box because they have to test out of it. And if they don't perform at a certain level, then they're going to be forever labeled.
Well, this lady told my mom, but this is a long time ago now. I don't know. It could be different now. It's funding because it's a program. So they want to continue the funding. Sometimes they don't want for the student to kind of progress
you
and
get
test
paid
out.
more. You get paid more if you're ESL certified. There's money there. Teacher gets like a couple thousand
Rob,
more.
what I was telling you? Look at Rob, he's not listening.
Excuse me, what?
I said, you see, that's what I was talking about the whole ESL program.
Oh, I know. I totally. Every time you bring that up, because I also was in ESL, but thanks to SpongeBob, I got out real quick. Yeah. I swear.
Yeah, there are some kids that I'm like, why are you in this program still? Like, why are you like fluent English, perfect spelling, writing? I mean, I don't know why they're still in the program.
So I like to play teachers with my daughter. That's how I teach her. And so she thinks we're playing schools, right? Yeah. And so her granddaughter was over playing with her. And so I said, all right, so we're going to play today. And so we were working on English words, right? And so her granddaughter got really upset and didn't like that Penny knew them, but she didn't. And I said, it's okay. I said, I'm showing you. I said, so you don't have to worry about it. And so that was my example to my nanny. And I said, okay, do you see how Penny's never been to school? I said, you and I only, no one speaks English to her. Okay. I said, and I just want you to see that she watches these English YouTube channels. I said, and she now speaks English while your granddaughter has been in school. She's in 2nd grade. I said, and that she doesn't even know what it was ice cream. No. It was ice cream, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like the one word that most kids know. We did ice cream. So I teach my daughter sign language, and that's kind of how I teach her the English part is I do cool. English with sign language together. And so I was teaching her ice cream, and it was like super easy words that she could remember. And it was like fruits and like desserts. And so it wasn't that hard to where it was like, these probably could have been simple words that she would have learned along the way or heard someone else say them. It was simple words like that, but she didn't even know that. And so that was my example to her. And she's like, well, we only speak Spanish at home. I'm like, I know that. I said, so does Penny. I said, she goes, yeah, but she hears you and your husband speak English. I said, but she doesn't understand. I said, it's been her sitting down and she watches these videos, and that's how she learned. I mean, my daughter said agitate the other day. And I said, what? I was like, where did you hear that word? I was watching Ryan. They did an experiment. And because I was like, all right, now you have to stir it. She goes, agitate. I was like, agitate. I was like, what? You were 3. I was like, where'd you hear? And she said it was Ryan because they were doing an experiment. And so that's where she learned it from. And I thought that was a really big vocabulary word for a 3-year-old. I said stir, right? And she was like, no, it's not stir kind of thing. It was like funny, but I have a problem right now with the education system, and I don't really know how you fix it. It's got to start with parents for one, right?
I think it's going downhill.
Yeah, it's going downhill to where I really think schools they're going to do away with schools. Like I think all schools eventually, I don't know that there'll be public schools. It's going to be a different system. I foresee something different happening. Yeah. I don't know what it will be, but it's like, I almost feel like if you identify a certain way, you can attend. You know how there's like the School for Performing Arts or whatever. I almost feel like that's kind of the way we're going to end up going. So it's going to be specialized schools where they specialize in helping you transition and helping you, like, you know what I'm saying, how to adapt I feel like these are going to be classes you're going to have to start taking to understand and just get through life. And I find that insane because I don't know that every gay person feels this way.
Oh no, they don't.
You know
I have a cousin. I mean, I know a lot of close people who are. They're very conservative. They're not with the movement. She's like, I don't want to associate myself with that. You know.
And why aren't they speaking out? I really wish more of the gay community that feel that way would kind of speak out, because you writing a book about ejaculating in a can, and if you don't do it, you have to drink it. We have a problem.
Yeah, it's an elementary.
It's an elementary school. It's called Flamer. Look that one up.
Ew. And I look at Lips of TikTok, so I see that stuff all the time. I'm like, what kind of school